Yo, everybody, it's Heat Override, and I'm ready to break the pain this week for a very, very, very low common. Bring the pain. This one's going to be about the Fiend, aka Bray Wyatt, aka Windham Rotunda. So I want to get into it right now. So kick it out with the things, and let's talk about the Fiend. Oh yeah, man. So everybody got that awful news. First, don't give no disrespect to Terry Funk. He was a little before my time. You know me, I'm only 45. I'm a heat override. I'm a little guy. Yeah, and that's what I do. But when you look at it this way and you hear what happened, with Wyndham, and you think about like how old I am and that, how life sometimes can be unfair and how sometimes life can be forgiving because we all walk that path. We all do that. And for what Wyndham did for me as a fan it was giving me one of the most exciting characters I've seen in a long time since honestly, and I hate to say it, The Undertaker. And that was, like Papa Shango, he did his little thing. They had all these other guys that were all voodoo-y, you know, and it just didn't really work. The Undertaker worked. Well, yeah, Bray Wyatt worked. And I remember seeing him for the first time as Husky Harris, and everybody was doing this obstacle course on NXT or like whatever thing was going on. And I was like, oh man, this dude's done. He is not going to get over this wall, right? And he proceeded to run through the wall. And I was like, whoa, are you kidding me, man? Yo, I got to follow this guy. I follow this guy. So, for me, that was a big, big thing. And just watching him. And then when he came up the roster, I was like, oh, okay, finally get to watch him a little bit, see what he's about. So you get all the different ways he went and all the different vignettes he went through. And then, of course, finally doing Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family and just bringing together just oh man, and we can't even get into that right now too, because you know Bray Wyatt envisioned that group and it was perfect, and everybody already talked about the Shield. Everybody talked about and has given all the reactions to all. Everybody's like Rowan being there, and to me, and then of course Harper, just Brody Lee, like it breaks your heart, and that just lets you know that they have left a mark on all of our hearts that we'll always remember. We'll always remember Harper. We'll always remember Brody Lee. We'll remember Brody Lee destroying Cody Rhodes in AEW. We we're gonna remember Bray Wyatt coming up with these crazy little vignettes while he was part of the Wyatt family and this little black woodsy kind of thing, and the music was cool, and flyer flies, and he's like catching. But to what really worked for him is when he went the Fiend. Now, the Fiend was just completely off the hook. The wife, the daughter, they couldn't even watch the screen. They literally would leave, and but they respected, they loved Bray Wyatt as much, and this was what hurts, is because he was so dastardly and sinful looking, and so angry. That mask, man, that mask was wild, and just the things that they did with him, and then doing the Firefly Funhouse. Oh man, I mean, that was like Pee Wee Herman, which yeah, okay, God rest his soul as well too. He unfortunately we that, but so go back to that, man. Oh man, that whole all the skits, everything, and hey man, like that all twined together and came from him. And it allowed him and allowed a lot of fans to witness what true day excellence in story making and control of a character and being able to use and mold that character. You see Cody Rhodes doing that now. And that's huge for wrestling in general, is because sometimes They had companies, aka we all know who the company WWE has a certain idea for somebody. If it doesn't work, they get rid of them sometimes. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. They always have a backup option, and they have a huge pool of talent to pull from. That right there, and NXT roster coming main roster just puts so much meaning to it. But that's what made Bray Wyatt so much more special. In addition, when they brought in Alexa Bliss, like I was like, this is cool. She's swinging on the swings, got her little dolly, you know, man, just the things that could make it. And when Wyndham would come back and wrestle for us most recently and give us some of these matches, like of course being posted everywhere right now with LA Knight and the feelings of that match being the last match, crazy. That just lets us know that we did witness greatness in that amount of time. We did witness a Hall of Fame career in that time. It doesn't even matter about the belts. That's that I heard that brought up too, is that sometimes if a heel is so good, they don't need a belt. They just need to be feared. That was almost like Jake Roberts for a long time would do that. You know, he didn't have to have the belt. He had a sack with Damien in it, and it scared the shit out of people. And for that to be happening back in the 80s and into the 90s and to continue, that that shows that a character like that doesn't need those titles, but they gave him the title. They did. And that's because it was hard not to. This wasn't like Ryback and Feed Me More, which believe me, I loved that, but it did get old. And it was nice to see him crushing people. But then he got that title shot and then it was done. And him to blame? Who's to blame? Who knows who's to blame? The thing is it's in the past now. So he only has the future to look forward to. And so this is WWE, and they have that in people like LA Knight. They have that with Austin Theory. They have that with so many Carmelo Hayes. They have that with so many people right now. I mean, I could go on and list every wrestler in the roster. It's not needed. It's definitely not Dom. Definitely not Dom. Boo. But yeah, like get back to it. Wyndham meant a lot to us all. And to hear and to see that and read that statement from Triple H hurt a lot of people in their hearts because he is part of the main roster. He was. He was somebody we were watching every single week. He's somebody we remember recently. He's somebody we were all wanting to come back. And instead of coming back, he's now a part of all of us through his memories, through the people he scared with that mask, through his wins, through his losses, through his trials and tribulations, whether they be in the ring, outside of the ring, being a humble man, being a husband, being a great father, and just going in and making sure that you have an awesome character every single time. And that is what Windham Rotunda has done. Thank you. And thank you to his family and friends, heartfelt hugs, much love, everything like that. So since I don't have a bell set up, I'm going to dong it 10 times. This is for Windham Rotunda. Dong, 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 dong. And that's how you bring the dong. That's how you bring the pain. That's how you represent RIP Windham Rotunda. You will always be remembered. We've watched every single videos of yours since then, just like everybody else, wanting to make sure that we always remember to bring the Windham. Yeah.